you're in the Nation, and then they do the angle where you guys all turn on Ron Simmons, and it's now the Rock's Nation. You were one of the few people that were there with Rock as he's turning from Rocky Maivia
Yeah.
into the Rock. I mean, he's such a megastar now, but you were there. What was it like seeing that sort of transition for him?
It was amazing because I don't know if I've ever seen anybody work harder than him. Never. Work out twice a day. You know, I take too long showering and what are you doing in there, man? Like, ooh, hurry up. I got to shave. Ah, ah, the car's running. You know, like we had a good time. We were like brothers, you know, more than roommates. And but he would sit around and write in this book. And one day I picked the book up and I was like, man, what you writing, man? And I'm going to try this tomorrow, and I'm going to try this tomorrow. I tried this, don't work. He was breaking wrestling down and what worked and what didn't. He was going to try everything. I was like, bro, you guys going to try all of this. Yeah, I am. I said, when? When I get to it. And he Xing them off, putting checks on them. And he would do everything. Get in there. Man, he would get in the ring with Tom Pritchard and wrestle like 30 minutes before practice. And then we would work out and learn wrestling. I'm just like, hey, man, you want to go out? I'm going out to this club. Like they say this used to be a porn building. Y'all, did y'all know that? This building used to be where they used to show porno movies. I love it. I would go out to the clubs, man. It was the best. I had a great time. And I'd be like getting in at 1 o'clock and wake up at like 7 o'clock to get ready to go to practice. He was like, man, what time did you get here? I went to bed at like 11 or 12 and you wasn't even here yet. And I was like, oh man, I got in probably 2 hours after that. And he would be like, man, you killing yourself, man. You need to get some rest. Like this is hard. This is like we here to work. Like he was like my coach. I was like, man, stop talking to me like that. Oh. But like there's nobody that outwork him. Even in his daily life. Have you ever seen the Iron Palace thing that he does? He wake up at 4 o'clock every morning and go to the gym for an hour and a half to 2 hours, then goes and eat breakfast, and then goes and does all his phone calls and business stuff for a couple hours, and then he go work out again. And then he'll get dressed and go do life. I'm like, that's a lot. Before noon? He like the military, man.
Well, there's that famous video, right, of Sean Evans, the guy from Hot Ones. Years ago, he tried to eat the Rock's diet in a day, and he got to like Rock's 9 a.m., 3 pounds of haddock, and just spewed everywhere, just vomited. Couldn't do it.
Pancakes. Like we used to go everywhere we used to go. He used to be like, "Listen, I need some pancakes to go. No syrup. Can you sprinkle cinnamon on them?" And there was y'all ever heard of this American place called Bob Evans? Bob. So like he used to like Bob Evans because they had cinnamon pancakes. He loved cinnamon. So like everywhere we would go, he would get pancakes, put them in a box, and like that would be his in the middle of the day meal snack, like so he can get some carbs and get fired up again. And like to go to the Waffle House with him, or like and people in Canada, the Huddle House. I don't know if they have a breakfast place that's like a fast food breakfast place here in
No, they tried Denny's here for a while.
like Denny's.
Yeah, they tried that.
Oh, they have Denny's. So like that. But he would always get egg whites. I hated egg whites. I gotta have yolk in my eggs. Like, like he ate healthy all the time. That's why he was able to look like that. Like his discipline was something worldly, out of worldly. Like I don't know nobody like him. He had to succeed. It just ain't no way to fail when you trying to do everything right, and it makes you feel good to do everything right.
Off the back of that, I wanted to ask you about the DX parody of The Nation from the summer of 1998, where they all pretended to be you
was
guys.
talking to me about negativity.
We can skip it.
Nah, listen, man.
Because the reason I bring it up is because there's a kind of story online that Ken Shamrock had a story about, or a theory. He said something happened with a sandwich with X-Pac, and he referenced it in the parody.
Somebody put in one of the rocks. Like I said, he used to have the to-go boxes. He used to pack food for later, and somebody in a box and put it in his locker. And there were several people that was like, hey man, don't get bent out of shape, don't sell it, because they're gonna get a good laugh. Take your box and just throw it in the trash. Like, man, I'm just not gonna eat today. Don't sell it. And he never really sold it, but he wanted to know who it was. And you know how horrible that would have been for him to find out who it was, because he wouldn't have handled it. He would have went straight to Vince, and he'd have said, listen, it's either me or him. Who you think they gonna pick? Goodbye. And that's kind of like the way that it was back then. But like, as far as the DX and the...
Because I was curious about, with that parody, is that a situation where they're coming to you and saying, right, we're going to do this? Or do they just go out and do it and you guys...
No, we knew, and Dwayne didn't like it from the beginning. He was like, I don't like it. I don't like people dressing up like us. I don't like people like, just putting blackface on, like he didn't like it. But like at that time, I was like, man, we in entertainment, man. Like, it ain't bothering me. And he was like, if y'all want to do it, then we'll do it. But like, I just don't like it. I'm just letting you know. Like, Dwayne never liked it. I didn't care, because I just looked at it as being part of the work, because I knew the people, and I knew they weren't racist. I knew they weren't like X-Pac. He didn't know until probably like a month or two after they started taking heat. Like, man, y'all dressed up like black people, you put makeup on to look like that and this and that. And he was like, what is the big deal? Like, we just were playing, like, we were acting like our guys. And they were like, you ever heard of a minstrel show? And he was like, what is that? I don't even know what that is. And I explained to him what people used to do after the slavery times, dress up and put black on and make big red lips and, act like characterization of what they thought a black person is. He cried. He had no idea about that history, because America don't teach the nasty history. They just, sweep it under the rug, and then this guy finds out that what he did was like some of the worst you can do to people. It hurt him. And I told him, I said, man, look, I know who you are. He's like, Mark, I'm not a racist. I said, I didn't say you were a racist. I said that situation was deemed racist, and they going to fight that for the rest of their careers, for their life, because it was a little bit distasteful. And it took for people that I know outside of wrestling to say, man, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have let them do that. And I was like, man, what was I supposed to do? Like, just say I'm not going to go to work for, like, so it was complicated. And we all learned a valuable lesson from it on both sides.
I think this is an uplifting thing to move on to, so I hope you feel the same. I think this is a nice thing. So you had come to WWF, you were the world's strongest man, you're in the nation, but I think one of the first times that we properly saw your acting chops and saw what you could do was the birth of Sexual Chocolate.
That was a good time. And I had to beg Vince to do that.
So you came up with that? And
I created Sexual Chocolate. And me and D-Lo in the car driving, and D-Lo like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do, man. Because, like when the nation broke up, we were trying to find each other. We were trying to find ourselves. Like, what are we going to do? Because, man, this is right in the thick of the Attitude Era. To get on TV was hard. And D-Lo was working pretty solid with cruiserweight guys. He was working with big guys, doing jobs, like working in the middle. But he wasn't, like, super over yet. And I was like, golly, man, what if? I said, you ever see that movie, Coming to America? And he was like, yeah. I said, I want to be Randy Watson or Sexual Chocolate. And he was like, first off, they're not even going to let you say Sexual Chocolate on TV. And I was like, no, man, I'm going to go tell Vince. And he was like, yeah, good luck with that. And I went in there and talked to Vince, and Vince was like, Mark, we spent a lot of money trying to make you the strongest guy in the world. And, like he was real serious. And he's like, You're not comedy. Me looking at you, I don't see comedy. I see tough. I see mean. I want you to lean into that. I was like, Vince, I got a lot of jokes that need to be told. And he's like, oh my God. I said, let me show you what I'm talking about. Just one time, and then if it don't work, I won't never say nothing else about it. And he let me do it that night. And the whole point of the character was not to win, but to get the girl. So every match I had, I was wrestling Sean Morley. He wasn't even Val Venus yet. He was Sean Morley. And I mean, we're wrestling. I body slam him, and then I get ready to, to pin him, and he kicks out. And he starts hitting me back. He hits the ropes, and that was the first time that I did the Vader. Like I started doing what Vader used to do. And I think I just stole it. I just took it. And I did that, and he's down. And then I look, and I see the girl in the front row, and I get out of the ring in the mid-match, and I go and talk to this girl, and I'm leaning on the barricade. I'm like, hey, that's your phone number. He comes and starts tapping me on the shoulder. And I'm like, it's not that. I'm sorry, right here. He turned around. He's punching me, bing, bing. I throw him back in the ring, and I beat him. And then I'm serious. I'm cheering, and then I go. And then I go back to the girl. And I came in the back, and Vince was about to piss his pants laughing. He was like, damn it. He was like, good job, Sexual Chocolate. And I was like, for real? And it was like, bro, it's like little kid stuff. Like, he allowed me to do something that Vince is hard to go back on what he thinks. And he allowed me to do that, man. And, like, that's still, I can't go nowhere without having a question asked. Or if I'm in front of a crowd and they'll go, Sexual Chocolate. Like, it's a part of who I became for the rest of my life.
Because I feel like one of the highlights of that whole time in WWF in general was you in China. And you trying to get China to go on a date with you and all that kind of stuff. I mean, was that your idea to involve her? Because that just felt like such a good...
No, that was Vince. Like, that was like... It was Vince that came up with me trying to get China to laugh, because nobody could get China to laugh in the ring. Nobody was cracking her, brother. And then the same thing with Mae Young. He was like, hey, we're going to have you go out and protect Mae Young. And I'm like, protect her? Well, what's going on? And he's like, Mae is going to be your new love interest. All right, let's do it. I was like, is she ready for all of this? And Ben's like, fool, please save it for TV. He like, we just had a good time, man. And man, I got to see, y'all know who Bruce Pritchard is? Brother Love. Man. So Bruce is a high up. Like it ain't many dudes that's higher than him other than Hunter right now. And Bruce was producing me and Mae Young on Valentine's Day. Like we're in the bed together and she's smokes a cigar in the hotel. And they're like, you got to put that out. You can't do that. I just did it. She was the best, man. Like, I love that woman. And we were just having a good, and she started like trying to unbutton my boxers. And Bruce Pritchard is literally on the floor about to die. He's laughing so hard he can't breathe, and he's going, like I'm telling you, he was almost out of there. And if it was funny to the people that was doing it, the people watching was going to be losing their minds. And it got to the point to where they was like, guys, y'all got to stop, please. We got to finish shooting this. And we shot that. And still to this day, between that scene of the Valentine's Day and me and Sammy, the China's friend, we're not going to say what that is. We're in this building, so you might as well. But
we will.
Like those two things, Stephanie McMahon, every time she sees me, she repeats at least one of those.
Well, because I was going to ask you, we'll not go into it too much because it was so long ago and it's PC-wise, but with the Sammy thing, when they come to you and say, right, okay, because you and China were kind of becoming an on-screen couple.
Yeah.
It felt like that had legs. Like that could have been a lot more than it was.
It could have, but I was still getting in trouble, like with people at that time too.
But my question was going to be, so when they come to you and say, right, we're ending the China thing, we're going to have you and Sammy, your mother's going to be in the front row and all this kind of stuff. What is your reaction when they come to you? Are you just like, yeah, that's fine? Or are you like, what is going on?
I did it to myself. Like during that time, I knew that, like I thought I was going to get fired, actually, because I just couldn't handle people talking to me the way that there were certain people trying to, brick me. And, I just was like, man, me going to Canada was the best thing that ever happened. I just thank God that I got hurt, that I got in trouble, and that I went to Canada, because Canada made me the wrestler that I am, because I had Stu Hart, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, and Leo Burke. Leo Burke is the godfather of wrestling training in Canada. How am I supposed to fail with the best people in Canada, in the entire country, teaching me? And Bad News Brown, #1 student, Rodney Blackbeard, left Halifax and came to Canada and was working. I'm working with the best underground wrestler in Canada every day. How you gonna fail? It was just impossible. So when I came back to Louisville after leaving Canada, man, I had dropped. That was the lowest that I had ever weighed since high school. I was like 317 or something. My sexual chocolate, I still had my sexual chocolate gear. You go to the Ohio Valley Wrestling Legends page, and you'll see me with the sexual chocolate gear on. It was baggy like this on me because I had lost almost 80 pounds. I was in great shape, and man, it was like that was the upturn for me coming who ended up becoming.